I'll watch your back and keep it true. I'll make you mine. We'll struggle through, and before you crack, your fortune's true. So take my hand. Take my hand, take my hand, take my hand. I'll make a stand for once and all. I'll sacrifice with no remorse. Before I'm through, I'll walk hand in hand with you. Take my hand, take my hand, take my hand, take my hand. So take my hand, take my hand, take my hand, just take my hand, oh, take my hand, take my hand, take my hand, just take my hand.
That's Take My Hand, written by David McNee and performed there by Paul McKenna, who featured at last week's Wee Folk Club at the Royal Oak. It's episode 22 of the Garden Sessions.
22, eh?
With Celtic connections on the horizons. Angles and Tom are getting set to go out and review all those shows at Celtic Connections for you listeners out there, whilst I'll be back in Edinburgh, propping up the bar in the Royal Oak, keeping a foot on base. But for now, though, it's the folk scene zone, half and half. Tom Harland and Dave the Angles Gimble.
I've already shotgunned the whiskey, Angles.
I bet you have.
You
no,
know
I'm,
this.
I get to be a nice glass of beer then.
Well, I'll take the scappa any day. How's it going, Jack?
I'm very well. If you're a scapper, Angles, what does that make you?
Ooh, probably a pint of 80 or something like that.
No, it's a half and half, Angles. It'd be a
That's
half
true.
pint.
Well, let's
Call
not make me
yourself
sound
a
stupid.
folk guru.
Coming up on this week's show, all the usual features: the Folkie News, Dave's Angle. We've got the letters bag coming out later on, and our featured artist this week is Ewan Forfar. Tom, tell us a wee bit about Ewan Forfar.
Another great denizen of the Royal Oak. Ewan's a great guy. Plays an amazing left-handed blues kind of guitar.
Yeah. He's a master of blues guitar.
Unique sound.
But not just blues guitar, because he plays Cayley stuff as well and hardcore
a
folky.
master of a mean anecdote as well, man. I think you'll find.
There's many an anecdote.
As I hope the interview yields. I haven't heard it yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed. Angles, your angle. Any hints?
No, God, no, of course not.
Any clues?
No clues.
Any allusions to what it might be?
Nope.
Well, let's have our second song. This is another tune from One Glass Eye, whom we haven't heard from in a while on the Garden Sessions. They're available to download on the website, which is www.gardensessions.co.uk. Also, if you want to contact us, it's podcast@gardensessions.co.uk, incidentally. This song is called Dobrudzdanska Pandela.
That was One Glass Eye with Dobrudzdanska Pandela. Tom?
It's news! It's folk!
What is it, Tom?
It's the Folkie News!
And the Folkie News brought to you this week, as ever, in association with Paddy Bort's Wee Folk Club.
Well, every Sunday night at the Oak, we've got the Wee Folk Club at 8:30. An intimate venue, 30 seats, acoustic. It's a great night out. We've got fantastic musicians and singers. Every Sunday night, do come along.
21st of January at the Wee Folk Club. It's Kate Bramley, best known as singer and instrumentalist with Jez Lau's Bad Pennies. This is one of Paddy's top picks, I'll have you know. And that's, of course, at the Royal Oak, Infirmary Street in Edinburgh. And tickets just £3. Measly £3. Moving on with the Folkie News. The main story, former featured artist, guest presenter, and 3 times Garden Sessions #1, Frank Burkitt has broken his hand. We spoke to the Garden Sessions resident folk medical expert, registered general nurse, and one of the founding members of folk ensemble Cantrip, Ian Willis, earlier today, and asked him how long it would be before the injury heals and how this might affect Frank's playing in the long term.
To be perfectly honest, I don't know the fellow's prognosis, but it could take a wee while. It depends how you break your bones, but the bones aren't the problem. It's the soft tissue surrounding it. The muscles, tendons and the nerves and stuff like that. You know, it could be a potential issue. Well, until the hand's healed, until the bones are healed, it's normally 6 weeks. That's a rough average. You'll probably be able to tinkle the guitar after 8 weeks, and then probably be able to play a month after, so maybe 10 weeks, yeah? Believe it or not, the Royal Infirmary used to have a musician's sort of therapy thing. Apart from musicians that inflicted injuries upon themselves by punching articles, the service, there's still remnants of that, and it's geared up to sorting that out. And there's a good hand surgeon in the Royal, Dr. Oliver, but there's also fantastic physiotherapists. Physiotherapy is the key. They'll get you fixed and sorted out, max. And, worry you not.
Ian Willis there, our registered general nurse and folk medical expert. So I'm sure that all of the Garden Sessions listeners wish Frank a speedy recovery, myself and Jack.
Absolutely. Get well soon, Frank.
Get well soon.
I'll certainly do. Tuesday, 23rd of January, it's Tom McConville at the Leith Folk Club. Newcastle fiddle player Tom McConville is one of the leading fiddle players of our time. A virtuoso musician and fantastic singer, his rich and warm voice makes the interpretation of traditional and contemporary songs greatly admired by artists and audiences throughout the world.
It should be good.
His live performances combine a roller coaster of musical delights from fast, rhythmic dance tunes through to beautiful slow airs and, of course, great singing, and all presented with his inimitable sense of humour and style, accompanied by none other than the 2005 Scots Instrumentalist of the Year, none other than Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, he's everywhere.
So he is, and he's great. So Tuesday the 23rd of January sounds like a good one. Anyhow, Angles and I are in for a treat over the upcoming weeks because it's the Celtic Connections Festival.
I'm envious. I'm hopefully going to make something.
Hopefully, man. But this Thursday, Angles, what are we going to see?
We're going to see Richie Havens with
Richie
David Farrard.
Havens, yes. It'll be pounding. I can't wait for Richie Havens this Thursday. Opened Woodstock. Hopefully me and Angles will be able to at least see it, perhaps get a cheeky interview with Richie.
Tom, it's also good to see some local talent supporting him there.
Of course,
David Farrard.
Fine political songwriter of the Scottish
really making
scene.
a name for himself in the scene.
Anyway, on the 22nd, it's Robert Tannehill launch concert. I'm looking forward to that as well. I believe we've got some music coming up later on which features on the Robert Tannehill CD.
Yeah,
some good stuff coming up there, and hopefully, Jack, you might get along to that one.
Yeah, I want to try and get along for the Tannehill CD launch.
24th, I'll be indulging Kate Rusby at the Royal Concert Hall Auditorium, and after that,
that's in
Glasgow, City of Culture,
1990,
of course. Then we've got a folk weekend of genius to look forward to. Friday the 26th, me and Anglers are taking ourselves along to see Corinne Polwart at the City Hall Old Fruit Market.
Indeed we are.
Corinne Paul.
It should be brilliant.
Saw her
Some
in
of
the
my-
Oak a couple of weeks ago.
Some of my favourite songs come from Corinne Paul.
And then it doesn't stop there. The weekend rolls on into
The weekend
Saturday.
rolls on because we stay with Behold a Field of Megaliths, former Garden Sessions artists, and then on Saturday take on Malinky. Well, yes, of course. You can still download them, www.gardensessions.co.uk. Anyway, Malinky, Saturday 27th.
Indeed.
Should be good. Corinne
With
Polwart's
Rana Rim
former
and
band.
Lauren McCall.
And Lauren McCall, one of Angles's old flames from the Black Isle.
Old flames. This is nonsense you're talking. She went to school with my brother.
Anyway, Friday the 2nd of February is one that I'm really looking forward to as well. It's the Peatbog Fairies at the Classic Grand. And I believe that just about wraps up the folky news.
Thanks, Tom.
The official Garden Sessions download chart. The official Garden Sessions download chart.
At 10, it's down 2 for the Laurie Watson 3 with Cape Country. At 9, it's down 7 for Andy Chung with the Wee Room. At 8, it's down 7 for Andy Chung again with the Penny Falls.
Pockets full of jingling change, playing on the penny falls. Long summer days to waste away till my mother calls.
Oh, that means we've got a new number 1.
Oh, yeah,
And
that is shocking. Andy
down
Chung,
7.
He's been there for 3 consecutive
3
charts.
weeks. So at 7, it's up 2 for Rantum Scantum with Hush. At 6, it's down 2 for the Laurie Watson 3 with When Maggie Gangs Away. At 5, it's up 1 for Four Chords and the Truth
Yes.
with Matty Groves. At 4, it's up 6 for Lolita Cafe with Running Wild.
Goodness
At 3,
gracious.
it's the first of this week's new entries for the Doghouse Roses with Nottingham Town. Nottingham Town.
Did you mean to do that or not?
No. At number 2, it's another new entry for the Doghouse Roses with Whistle Song. And at number 1, the official
Ooh.
Garden Sessions
Who
number
is
1,
it?
the new number 1. It's the injured man, it's Frank Burkitt with Military Band.
No, it can't be.
It
Against all odds.
Even with half a hand.
Mary Louise, I must play my part. I don't want to leave you with a lonely heart. With my bugle in hand, to a foreign land, I will play the reveille in the military band. Down at the docks, you hear the folk cheer, but you wave the ship goodbye and wipe away a tear. I'll be back to take your hand on this warm, familiar land, but for now I'll play the march in the military band. And I'll play aloud with all of my might, while I think about you crossing off those days and nights. And with every gunshot and blast, I think, will you be flying your flag in half mast? We dug in deep, we're still playing time. The drum awaits a word from home, and so do I. God bless your writing hand, it's all I can stand. The questions that you ask of the military band. truth of it is, it's not what we thought. The smiles of ambition now are tears of war. Poor old Charlie Sands was run through by hand. It's one less brave player in the military band. But I'll play along with all of my might while I think about you crossing off those days and nights. And with every gunshot and blast, I think, will you be flying your flag at half mast? You wouldn't believe how quick it gets dark. Best time for attack, they say, so play the march. But as man after man does the best he can, I'm thinking, what's the point of a military band? But we'll play aloud with all of our might while I think about you crossing off those days and nights. And with every gunshot and blast, I think, will you be flying your flag at half mast? And with every gunshot and blast, I think, will you be flying your flag at half mast?
You're listening to the Garden Sessions, gardensessions.co.uk, podcast at gardensessions.co.uk, and that was Frank Burkitt, Military Band. The fourth time that he's been the Garden Sessions number one.
You can't grudge him it though, man.
No,
He's
no.
got a broken hand.
Against all odds.
Hopefully it'll make him feel better.
Perhaps some sympathy votes from the Frank Burkitt listenership out there.
Just to perk him up in this time of crisis. For those of you who maybe went away for a cup of tea during the Folkie News, Frank Burkitt has broken his hand. Coming up on the show, we have still got Dave's Angle. Any hints?
Nope.
No hints. Featured artist is Ewan Forfar, who's going to be doing some pounding bluegrass kind of folky stuff for us in the last quarter of the show. We also have the Letters Bag. Angles, you and Tom are going to be doing most of the Celtic Connection stuff over the next few weeks, but there's a specific CD launch which you're going to be covering. Hopefully I'm going to get along for it as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Tom mentioned it earlier in the Folkie News. It's the CD launch of the first volume of the complete songs of Robert Tannehill. Now this is a box set of 5 CDs are going to be produced by 2010, which is the bicentenary of the death of Robert Tannehill, who was a poet. And it's been put together by Dr. Fred Freeman, who also put together the complete songs of Robert Burns. So it's good, proper, hardcore credentials. It's been put together by good people.
Fred Freeman got these artists together to produce this. What is it? An anthology of everything that Tannehill's ever written, or just like a kind of a best of? It's
a sort of an anthology of his songs, particularly the like a few bits of poetry put to music and stuff like that. And you're going to have your 5 CDs, of course, of hardcore folky lyrics.
Garden Sessions listeners will be familiar with some of the Tannehill stuff we've played.
Yeah, because we got a sneaky peek.
over the past couple of months.
Tom's been gunning for one in particular.
Well, indeed, I think it was Jack's New Year's favourite song of 2006 was "Lay Me on a Wintry Lea" by Emily Smith, and my kind of favourite song off the Tannehill CD is "Fly a Wee Tay Some Desert Isle," which I think we're going to hear now.
And this is Emily Smith also.
Fly, we take some desert isle, there we'll pass our days together. Shun the world's derisive smile, wandering tenants, so the heather, sheltered in some lonely glen, far removed from mortal ken. Forget the selfish ways of men, nor feel a wish beyond each other. Oh, my friends, to ride me still, Jamie out the sun, they never let them scorn me as they will. I'll be thine and thine forever. What are all my kin to me? All their pride and pedigree. What were life if wanting thee? And what were death if we man sever? Fly, we to some desert isle, there we'll pass our days together. Shun the world's derisive smile, wandering tenants, so the heather. What are all my kin to me? All their pride and pedigree. What were life if wanting thee? And what were death if we man sever?
Emily Smith there, "Fly a Wee Tay Some Desert Isle," and that's going to be performed. Well, I don't know if that song will be performed, but Emily Smith will be there at the Robert Tannehill launch concert,
along with so many others.
I think Aaron Jones is going to be along as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing both Emily Smith and him. It'll just be a fantastic concert. You should get yourselves along there. That's in St Andrews in the Square, and you can get your tickets by calling the ticket hotline for the Celtic Connections Festival, which is 0141 353 8000. So 22nd of January, 8 o'clock, we'll be there. Get yourselves along to see the Robert Tannehill launch concert. And the CD there is available from Burkitt All Records. That's burkittallrecords.com, I believe.
And that will be a fantastic night, which hopefully I'll be making it to. It's angle time. Dave,
Well, this week's angle is The Pride of Glencoe, performed by our former featured artist and number one, Tanteerie.
As I was a-walking one evening of late, where Flora's green mantle the fields decorate, I carelessly wandered where I did not know, by the banks of a fountain that falls in Glencoe. Like she who the prize of Mount Ida had won, there approached a wee lassie as fair as the sun. The ribbons and tartans around her did flow, that once won MacDonald the pride of Glencoe. I said, my wee lassie, your enchanting smile and your comely fine features have my heart beguiled. If your kind affections on me you'll bestow, I'll bless the happy hour we met in Glencoe. Kind sir, she made answer, your love I'll disdain, for I have a young sweetheart, MacDonald by name. He went to the war about 10 years ago, and a maid I'll remain till he returns to Glencoe. Perhaps young MacDonald regards not your name, and has placed his affections on some other dame. He may have forgotten, for all that you know, the bonny wee lassie he left in Glencoe. My Donald from his promise would never depart, for love, truth and honour stand firm in his heart. And if I never see him, then single I'll go, and I'll mourn for my Donald, the pride of Glencoe. He finding her constant, he pulled out a glove, which at parting she gave him as token of love. She flew to his arms then, while the tears down did flow. You're welcome, my Donald, the pride of Glencoe. Cheer up now, my Flora, your sorrows are o'er, and while life remains we will never part more. The loud blast of battle at a distance may blow, in peace and contentment we'll live in Glencoe.
That was Tanteerie, Pride of Glencoe, former Garden Sessions number one and featured artist. And the angle this week for Dave. Saw Tanteerie a couple of weeks ago. A belated happy birthday to Penny.
Happy birthday, Penny.
Any happy returns?
Yeah. Dave, I remember when Tanteerie did their featured slot in an interview, we kind of got a bite-sized angle from them.
They
on
did.
This song.
They did. They gave us a wee bit of a history of what, well, not a history, but a story of what the songs actually.
I'm still confused. So I need to know, Dave, what's your angle?
Well, basically, it starts off, and this guy's walking along through the flowers and the fields and stuff, and he's just wandering along, minding his own business, not really watching where he's going, just on a bit of a ramble kind of a thing. And he walks down by this fountain through in Glencoe.
A fair crystal fountain.
A fair crystal fountain, yeah. It's obviously, a nice sort of Highland and Spring kind of an affair.
Beautiful place,
down
Glencoe, man.
Glencoe.
Yeah.
Have you ever been, Angus?
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
driven through it with
gorgeous valley.
45 Spanish children.
Check out the Clacke again.
What? I used to take foreign kids on tours.
Folkie tours.
Enough of that angle. That's an obscure
Jimmy
one.
Savile has a house there as well.
Check out the Clacke again though if you go to Glencoe. It's a beautiful pub and good folk music there. I believe Wolfstone, Chris Drever's father, has played there.
Yeah. Which, can I just say, a side issue on the whole Celtic Connections thing, I thought it was shocking to see that he wasn't in the lineup for the Orkney night.
Quite shocking, definitely.
Celtic Connections.
Anyway, sorry,
Questions
we're
to be
getting
asked.
away from Dave's angle.
Continue, Dave.
So yes,
Dave.
we've left him at his fountain, but we eventually find our way back there, and he's standing there, and he sees this girl coming towards him, and she's beautiful and lovely, and she's got ribbons in her hair, and she's wearing tartan, and she sort of walks up to him, and he just falls for her completely. And
I would
says,
certainly
"Good
fall for a
God."
girl with ribbons and tartan. No question about it.
It turns out that he actually knows this girl. Now he's been away in the wars, and he's come back, and he knows her, and she's
Actual wars are just kind of emotional turmoil.
no
and lures.
actual fighting.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
days.
And she's actually his sweetheart who he left behind, kind of thing. But she doesn't recognise him, and he says to her,
Is this another love song, Angus?
Who wrote this, Angus?
it's a traditional number. It's performed by Cara Dillon as well. It's Tanteerie.
Ah, I see.
He says to her, "You're really lovely. You're really beautiful. And if you will sort of come with me and be with me, then I'll be the happiest man in Glencoe, and I'll bless the day we met."
He says this to her.
He says this to her,
Right.
and he's still pretending to be someone she doesn't know.
Wait a minute.
Wait, what's happened so far? He's fallen in love with her and they've kind of got together.
Well, no, he's already fallen in love with her. Then he went off to the wars, and he's come back, and she doesn't recognise him.
Whoa, wait a minute, Angus. What's going on?
Well, he fell in love with her, and she fell in love with him, and then he went off to the wars. Now
Right.
he's come back, and she doesn't recognise him, but
Sounds
he's
like
just
Homer's
met her.
Odyssey.
Well, yeah, but he's just met her, kind of thing, for the first time after he's come back. She doesn't recognise him, and he's playing up to be someone else. So
Why?
he wants to find out, I think, if she's faithful, kind of thing. If she's
So wait, he's
messing
disguised
around.
as someone else.
No, she just doesn't recognise him because he's been away in the fighting.
Just been haggard by the toils of war.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not the man she knew.
I
He
like
doesn't
the
have
line
same
he
look in
uses
his
to
eyes,
chat her
Jack.
up, though. Have you heard this? Your comely fine features my heart has beguiled.
Comely fine features, surely.
Yes, comely.
Comely, oh well.
Comely.
Nice.
Unless you've suddenly sort of got a Yorkshire accent.
So he chats her up and basically says, "Yeah, if you'll come with me, then I'll be dead chuffed." And she says, "No, can't do that, because I've got a sweetheart. His name's MacDonald, and he's gone off to the wars, and I'm gonna remain a maid until he comes back." And he says,
Big commitment.
"Well, yeah, but
Why can't he just trust her? There
Well,
doesn't
I
seem to be
don't
any
know
trust
why.
in this relationship.
I don't know
No.
why. I think that's definitely a problem, an issue they should really talk about with regards to their relationship, Jack.
Yeah.
But this isn't an episode of Trisha, so we don't really need to delve too far into that.
I don't know whether I agree with what he's up to, though. Surely she's going to be pretty angry when he reveals.
Well, I have
And
to say
he's
that
gonna
the girls from Tanteerie didn't agree with what he was up to either.
No, they didn't, did they?
So I'm taking quite a feminist stance in this one.
I'm not sure that's what it is. I think it's just a moral stance, Jackie. He's being a bit of a git.
Right.
I'll run with your feminist line, Jack. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying it.
it's a better one. Jan Moran would be on side.
But he tries to convince her. He sees just how far he can push it, just how much of a test for faith he can give. So he says, "But what about if MacDonald's not, stayed true to you? What if he's gone off with some other woman
He's gone too
in
far.
foreign lands?
He's crossed the line.
He's crossed the line. You've got to draw a line in the sand.
Well, he really wants to test her trust. He's really not sure if she's been seeing other people while he's been away at the wars." But she says,
Still.
"Well, she says, no, hold on a second. Even if he never comes back, even if I never see him again, I will remain single and I'll mourn him,
She
because
wouldn't
the
if
only
she
reason
knew.
he wouldn't come back is if he'd been killed in the wars."
She wouldn't be saying that if she knew
Well-
that was him dressed up, just sort of not trusting her enough
Well,
to just come back to her. And
Jack, she
stand in
obviously
there
doesn't
lying
seem
to
to
her.
mind, because that's when he plays that's when he does the big reveal. Because when he left, she gave him a gift. She gave him a glove, one of a pair of gloves, and she had the other one. And this was so that when they saw
Crucial
each
part
other,
of
they
the
could
story
recognise
that,
each other.
You missed out there.
Well, I had to miss it out until now, otherwise you would have known what was going to happen.
Would I?
Yeah, if I told you all about the glove at the
Angus
start,
does
you'd
like
have
to
known
leave
what
us
was
on
going to happen.
tenterhooks.
Okay, so the glove.
So he takes out the glove and goes, "Ah ha ha, it's me, it's MacDonald." And she goes, "Yay!" She's not pissed off at all.
No.
She doesn't mind. She just goes, "Oh, it's great," and she sort of throws her arms around him, and it's all hunky-dory, and he says to her, you can cheer up now because I'm back.
Would have been freaked out by the fact that I couldn't recognise him, this person that I'd spent years.
Well, exactly.
loving.
You'd think you'd be some tears and like some deep conversations and stuff and all that kind of thing, and at least a question as to, hold on, what was all that nonsense about?
I've never been as intrigued as I am now to ask you, Dave, what the moral is. Yeah, it's not easy, is it?
It's a mystery, this one. It's a bit of a mystery, because basically the song is about this guy just trying to get one over on his woman.
You see, you can't justify it.
You can't justify it, that's true.
So what is the moral?
The moral of
Right
this
or
one,
wrong?
apparently, is that even if you are a bit of a bastard, you'll get away with it.
Is that your angle?
Yeah.
That was Dave Zango. You're listening to Garden Sessions, gardensessions.co.uk, podcast at gardensessions.co.uk. And we've got the letters bag coming up next, followed by this week's featured artist, Ewan Forfar.
Yes.
Which should be a good one. Before all that, though, we've got a wee tune here which, quite close to Tom and I's heart, harken back to our early childhood years in Kelso, in the Scottish borders.
Yeah, I've forgotten about this one. Yeah, this is from the Celtic group of Kelso High School. You'll have to excuse Jack and I's indulgence, but just delving back into old school territory.
But it's really quite a nice wee tune, and also we thought it was quite relevant, what with Frank being laid out with his broken hand at the moment. This one's for you. The reason it's for Frank is because it's called Frank's Reel, by the way. Kelso High School Celtic group from their 2001 CD. And that was one of the tunes in there, Frank's Reel. dedicated to Frank Burkitt with his broken hand at the moment. Hopefully he'll be playing tunes again soon. But in the meantime, he can console himself with the fact that he's the Garden Sessions #1 with Military Band. It is time for the letters bag, though. And I'll go first. I think I haven't read a letter for a while on the Garden Sessions. This one reads, Dear Garden Sessions, thank you for wonderful Christmas and New Year podcasts. I agree with Dave. There may be no rules in a game, but it is ungentlemanly conduct to take a lift in a car. Shame on you, Tom. I hope you're already in training to be in better shape next year. And that's from the Rev in Fortrose. You see, Tom, that for listeners who don't know what that's all about, that's in reference to the handball between Achilty Bui.
I only
and
got
Paul
a lift
Bain.
a wee bit up the road.
Coigach, which was on the New Year episode.
I was exhausted.
Which is still available for download from all the usual haunts such as iTunes and of course through gardensessions.co.uk. But yeah, I agree with the Rev on that one.
Yeah, I think he's right.
You didn't at the time. You were quite happy when I dumped angles in the bog.
Well, that was funny.
Well, I think in that case, Jack, I should probably go next because my letter's also in relation to the handball. It says, Dear Garden Sessions, I love the New Year special and especially the report on the handball. Could you tell me more about the game itself, as we have nothing like it here? And that's from Remy, and it doesn't say where, but it's in France.
Well, Tom, you probably know more about the handball, having actually taken part.
I've taken part. I've taken the knocks for the Garden Sessions.
But it's not a complex list of rules, is it?
No, it's not. There are no rules. It's including getting in a car, by the way. That's perfectly allowed. You basically
ungentlemanly.
If you could get a helicopter to transport the ball, that would be fair enough and also quite lordish. But anyway, it's basically just a battle between two villages. I
don't think you'd be too popular in either village
no.
if you got a helicopter and winched the ball.
you might be at Achilty Bui because they've got to get that ball up a fair old hill before they get into Poe.
Still, I don't think anyone would look too kindly on it.
Anyway, I got a lift up the hill. There are no rules. It's just a battle.
There's other versions of the game, though, in various places around the country. One which I know of, and you'll know of, Tom, is the Baw in Jedburgh.
I believe this is where the game originated, in fact.
The Uppies and the Doonies.
I mean,
that's just the same, though, but it's fought in a town instead, so it's going to be a lot sorer when you hit the ground on concrete rather than bog or beach.
My father also talks of a similar game in Orkney where they had to board up shop windows and things for people being rugby tackled through the glass.
That certainly happens in Jedburgh. All the shops board up for the Baw.
I've got a letter here too, if you'd like to hear it. It's from Lily in New York. And she writes,
International letters bag.
Dear Garden Sessions, an avid listener of the Garden Sessions and also an American, I was wondering what Angles made of the Yankee acts he's seen in Paddy Bort's Wee Folk Club. Slange, Lily. Any American acts you remember back from Paddy's Wee Folk Club?
Jamie Lavelle and Ashley Broder.
Yeah,
they were very good, yeah.
They were good.
Also available on the Garden Sessions website. Gardensessions.co.uk.
Amazing fiddler.
That was the letters bag. If you want to contribute to the letters bag, all contributors to the letters bag, you get a t-shirt, a Garden Sessions t-shirt for having your letters featured, so you can look forward to one of them winging its way to you in the post.
It's just like a Blue Peter badge, except it doesn't really get you into that many places.
Folk currency, I've been told.
Folk currency, yeah, worth its weight in gold. That was a letters bag, and it's time now for this week's featured artist. A real treat. We've been trying to hunt him down for quite some time.
Many a long year.
And we finally snagged him. I met up with him earlier on this evening in the Royal Oak. This is this week's featured artist, Ewan Forfar.
Well, which way, baby, does that blood red river run? When which way, baby, does that blood red river run? It run right past my window, down the rising sun. Had them blues from my childhood follow me until I die. Had them blues from my childhood follow me until I die. I got the blues blues so bad, baby, I can't do nothing but cry. Where that sun gon' shine on my back door someday. Lord, that sun gon' shine on my back door someday. Well, that wind's gon' blow these blues away. When I which way, baby, does that blood red river run? Now which way, baby, does that blood red river run? It run right past my window, down the rising sun.
That was Ewan Forfar playing Red River Blues for us to start off this week's featured artist slot in the Garden Sessions. And Ewan joins me now downstairs in the Royal Oak, the Grand Old Opry of Folk, which is fast becoming the home of these featured artist slots. How are you doing, Ewan?
Oh, not too bad.
What made you play that one to start us off?
Well, it's a song that I've been playing for years and years and years. And it's a Brownie McGee number, and it's just one that I like, really.
Incidentally, that's in E. You're playing that.
Yes, the very key.
Okay, you play the sessions in the Oak on Tuesday night and alternate Sundays. It's quite unusual compared to a lot of the other artists that do the sessions in here, in that it's generally traditional folk music that's played in here, but it's more of a bluesy sound, American sound that you're playing here, although you still keep your hand in with Kelly stuff and likes the Sandy Bells and so on.
The songs that I do up the stairs really are they're a mixture of blues and old sort of pre-World War II country songs and things like that. If there's anybody else in, I mean, we do a bit of Kelly music. I don't sing much Scottish, not many Scottish songs though. But it's mainly sort of blues and ancient country stuff.
Do you think there's any connection between traditional folk music or Scottish folk music and the likes of the American blues?
Well, certainly in the sort of country end of things, it does have certain similarities to Scottish music sort of structurally, and in the fact that they use the same sort of instruments, like fiddles and that sort of thing. Blues is a sort of thing on its own. It's, a lot of people say it's connected to jazz, but I've never been able to see that either. It seems to stand on its own and to a large extent.
But it seems similar to folk in that it's music of the people. And it's
it's from the same kind of culture.
Well, we'll move on now to your second song that you're going to play for us, which is Peach Picking in Georgia in C. Tell us a little bit about that and why you're...
Right, well, this was originally recorded, I think, probably the early 30s by Jimmy Rogers, the singing brakeman. He was a superstar at the time. He did a lot of yodeling, but unfortunately, you don't want to hear me yodeling, so I've left out the yodeling in this, and this one's called Peach Picking Time in Georgia.
When it's peach picking time in Georgia, apple picking time in Tennessee, cotton picking time in Mississippi, everybody picks on me. When it's roundup time in Texas, them cowboys make whoopee. Down in old Alabama, get picking time for me. They got the bluegrass down in Kentucky, Virginia's where they do the swing. Carolina, I'm a-comin' to you to spend the spring. Arkansas, I hear you calling, I know I see you soon. That's where we'll pick a little cabin underneath the Ozark moon. Now when hard times overtake you, hope they don't get me. I got a sweetie waiting for me down in Tennessee. Well, I know I'm going to see her, I know it won't be long. That's where we'll pick a little cabin, call it a mountain home. Down where they pick the cotton, I pick a wedding ring. We go to town, pick a little gown for that wedding in the spring. I hope that preacher knows his business, I know he can fool me. Peach picking time in Georgia, yeah, picking time for me. Time in Tennessee, cotton picking time in Mississippi. Everybody picks on me when it's roundup time in Texas. Them cowboys make whoopee down in old Alabama. Yeah, picking time for me. I said down in old Alabama. Yeah, picking time for me.
So that was the second song in this week's featured artist slot with Ewan Forfar, who's with me now downstairs in the Oak. It's called Peach Picking in Georgia and Sea, by Jimmy Rogers. Ewan, what sort of influences have brought you to where you are now?
When I was about 14 or 15, I'd been playing the guitar for a couple of years, and then I heard Big Bill Brunsey playing, and then found a teacher that could teach me to do some of the sort of blues fingerstyle things. From Big Bill Brunsey, got into other blues guitar players like Blind Boy Fuller and Blind Blake. That was sort of in the mid-60s. The reissues on vinyl of these old blues singers were just sort of trickling through. Also at that point there was the Harry Smith Folkways anthology of American folk music, which I think it was in quite a few albums. I had a friend that had that, and I taped it, and that was just sort of about 3 or 4 albums full of Doc Boggs and Bascom Lunford and people like that. That's sort of the way I got into it, and there was a lot of interest at that time in sort of old timey and American blues over here as well.
I mean, you were around at the time of the folk revival, so how much of an impact do you think that had on your playing?
Well, I mean, it's why I started playing guitar. When I was a kid, my mother's side of the family were fairly musical, and they all played piano or fiddle or things like that. But yeah, I mean, the obvious thing to play was when I was growing up was the guitar, because everybody wanted a guitar, So I mean, the folk revival was. I mean, I don't know if it's much of an influence on me, but I certainly used to go and see the Corrie Folk Trio and Paddy Bell and Ray and Archie Fisher in the early 60s and things like that.
Where else can people see you play outside of the Oak?
We usually have a session in Sandy Bell's on a Wednesday night, but that isn't the blues stuff. It's I'm an accompanist on Wednesday nights. We do mainly Irish stuff and a bit of Scottish stuff. With it's usually a trio with fiddle and mandolin and myself on guitar. But yeah, I do the Oak every Tuesday and alternate Sundays, and yes, come down sometime.
It is a fantastic session, and it's hard work running a session in the Oak. I mean, it's not as easy as a normal gig, would you say?
Well, you have to battle with the punters at times, you know, but you know, it can be great.
Usually get some other musicians in, and you can get quite a good jam on the go.
And the piano's a great asset as well, you know, because hopefully it's usually kept reasonably in tune, so anybody that can play the piano can have a wee rattle of the ivories.
Well, thanks very much, Ewan, for joining us on the featured artist slot. You're going to play us out with your last song of this 3 that we're hearing, which is called Police Dog Blues. Why have you chosen to play us out with that?
Well, it's an interesting sort of song. Basically, it's in an open D tuning, and it was originally by Blind Blake. It is one of the first sort of songs that's been recorded, or was recorded in the late 1920s, in an open D tuning without a slide. Normal open tuning players would use a slide, but this was one of the first ones that was recorded as an open tuning number with just picked notes rather than a slide. So it's called Police Dog Blues, and the hero gets a lump taken out of his nether regions by a ferocious dog.
Well, thanks very much, Ewan Forfar.
Cheers.
All my life I've been a rambling man. All my life I've been a rambling man. Traveling around doing the best I can. Ship my trunk down to Tennessee. Ship my trunk down to Tennessee. Well, it's hard to tell about a man like me. Little girl couldn't get her off my mind. Little girl couldn't get her off my mind. Has me up since she didn't like my kind. I'm scared to bother around the house at night. Scared to bother around the house at night. Got a police dog craving for a fight. His name is Rambler when he gets a chance. His name is Rambler when he gets a chance. Well, I sink his teeth in a poor boy's pants. I believe I travel, believe I let her be. I believe I travel, believe I let her be. Before she sets that police dog on me. Traveling round doing the best I can.
Oh, good old Ewan.
Ewan.
Pounding music.
Brilliant
really
stuff.
Good stuff. A slight departure from our normal raw folk kind of playlist, but amazing stuff. You can never beat a good bit of bluegrass.
No.
Fantastic featured artist.
Podcast.
Time again, episode 22, was it?
Indeed, 22 episodes. What's on next week's show, Tom?
All the usual kind of stuff, I imagine. Well, with an extra twist of the Celtic connections, we should hope there's some reviews of Richie Havens and the Tannehill stuff by next week. The Letters Bag, the Folkie News,
Dave's Angle.
It's
an exciting week ahead.
All the best in new songwriting and traditional folk music.
With our featured artist next time round being Roscoe Galloway, who, if you are familiar with our website, gardensessions.co.uk, you may have heard some of his tunes. We also played a song of his a few weeks ago.
A good performer. He went on his own folk odyssey a while ago.
So we'll be speaking to him next time round, so you can look forward to that. Till next time round, from myself, Jack Foster, Tom Harland, Dave the Angles, Gimble, take it easy.
Goodbye.
Catch you later down the folky trail.
Mm-hmm.